My cheese are throwing like grace here today. Oh. Right. Let's do this, you filthy monkey. I must assume the position. Oh. A comfortable demigod is a happy demigod. Is everything in order? Boris, put that down. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Ugh, where's my sip? Ugh. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Oh, it is a thrill! Oh God, oh your chi! Oh, stretching goo. Oh, painting goo. It's painting goo. Paint. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Bring it home, Myro! You marvelous monkey! You petrified primate! Remind these filthy mortars the meaning of beauty! Painting goo. Painting goo. Right, if you have any honor in your your filthy mortar share, you will pay the monkey, 'cause I don't. Yes, my Rav. Sran? Sran? I love you, Love you. Bye-bye. Tutors. Greetings! It's like, start the fucking stream with bye, I love you, bye. Hello! Greetings and welcome to another glorious episode of Paintingu. Hi. It's a miserable day in Ireland today. Grey, gloomy, sopping wet, and not in a good way. Just this grey, godless weirdness. To quote Bill Berry. Oh. Shout out to Bill Berry. Funny fucker. Right. Today, my beloved Japanites, we embark on a new adventure. This Thursday, yet another new Paintingu shall be born. Are we neat? Is it a... Ah, fuck. The magic hatu is all the way over there. God damn it. Oh, my cheers are not throwing freely today. I am a slow, like retard. Shro-Reich Gracier. Ebbing Reich Snare. Gradually to my destination. Perhaps the tunes shall help. What the fuck? Press the button. Ah, ba-bum. Please call me by my Japanite name, Stabaru, as gifted me by the demigod Fender. Oh, I love it. On this stream, in this chat, my name is Stabaru. Oh, I love you, Stabaru-sama. Despite being Canadian. You are worthy of my love. A moment whilst I retrieve the Magikatu. Margiu, Stabaru, Emmanuel Godzulu, Max Stoutu, welcome to Paintingu. I shall return. Right. Defender us. Okie dokie. Ugh. Truly, I need a better way of replacing the map. I really would love a monkey, a real monkey. This stream would be the best stream in the realm if I had a legitimate Paintingu monkey. Monkey! Map! Monkey! Hat! Monkey! Fan! It's like, how amazing would it be if just a little monkey arm just ascended from the bottom of the screen? And before anyone asks, yes, if I had a real monkey, I would strap it. Right! Give me a number between 0 and 224 and let's get this show on the road, shall we? We set a sail for a new destination here on Paintingu! Ha! Paintingu. It's Paintingu. Where will we go? Paintingu! Paintingu! 200, says the female. Margiu. Tokarao. Toklau. Tokalau? Tokalau? Where the fuck is that? Tokalau. Like first half of the word is toke. Land of Tokage. Jesus Christ. Okay. We shall find this Tokrau. 200. I assume. Yes, I assumed as much. Yes, I was like, this is Asian. This is an Asian island. Has to be. Has to be an Asian island. It is indeed. It appears to be a Far East island. Northeast of Australia, originally. Tokelau, Tokelau, means... Oh no, that's not what it means. Titico, Titiko. Titico means shit yourself. Glorious. That's a hilarious thing to say to someone. None of this, like... None of this, like, a curse upon both your houses. It's just like, I hope you shit yourself. Yes, sir. May you shit yourself this day. Someday soon, karma will catch up with you, and you will shit yourself. Right. Let's see if we can put the map back without destroying everything. Can I do it? Can I do it? I have achieved it. Intergalactic oneness. Glorious. You are too late, Stabaru. We are already on our way to Tokurao. I must consult Googer. But first, the hat. As I descend into proper paintingu posture, revering my magic Topnotu. Its fluffiness is repellent to all near Oni. They hate it. They hate my beauty. They cannot stand it. Sip, sip. A magic cowboy hat. For those of you who do not know the origin of the magic cowboy hat, upon my descension from an earth realm, I was accosted by a cowboy. I swiftly murdered him and took his hat. His soul is trapped within. I use him, like genie, to figure out what we do after figuring out where we go. Ah, indeed, for our American Japonites. Happy Thanksgiving from PEINTEINGU. May your turkey be deliciously moist and racking in dryness. A notoriously dry poultry is a turkey, but excellent protein. Snatch number 1. Gathering chi. Snatch! Ah! Who was so close? My Gracier Reich Chi. This Thursday, you. Fuck's sake. Everything is assaulting my chi today. Right. Snatch! Ah! I felt it! I felt the paper on the tip! Third time's a charm. Snatch! Oh, glorious. That wasn't green. There was collateral damage. A wrench! Glorious wrench! A useful tool in any household. Begone, rubbish. Ah! 10 points. First thing we do is a wrenchu. Second strike. Ugh. I prefer peppering the chi versus sorting. How dare you? Such! Oh! Lots of collateral damage today. Ah! One of my favorite things. A nigger! A wrench and a nigger. Strike! 3! Snatch a 3. The chi has not reached my brain. Snatch! Oh, that was clean. That was very clean. A wrench, a nigger, and a yacht. Glorious. PEINTEINGU. Right. Now I consult Google and the magic square thingy to find out what the fuck Tokurao looks like. It is an island, apparently originally northeast of Australia. PEINTEINGU. 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 Shit. Goddamn pop-ups. Tell me, Google. What does Tokarao look like? Is tiny. High temperatures, 31. Low temperatures, 26. 26 is not low. Not at all. This island is very warm. Ah! Is technically still Asian, but is actually Kiwi-ish. PEINTEINGU. Their currency is the New Zealand dollar. Fascinating. The capital. It has 3 capitals. Must be a very large island to have 3 capitals. Fakafo. Very close to fuck off. Fakaufo. Nuku Nonu and Atafu. This language is hilarious. Tokalawan. I sometimes forget to not pronounce my R's. Airs. Right, give me some images. Give me some image of the Tokarao. Ooh. Ooh. Fascinating. Fascinating. Is not ironed. Is... trapezoid? Like... is like one wrong beach that connects in a geometrical shape. Fascinating. Is like ironed with horror in middle. Satellite photo looks like racetrack. Fascinating place. A yacht, a wrench, and a nigger. In one of the strangest places I have yet seen in the realm. Whoa! My green snatch joke comment disappeared. Indeed, YouTuber is a very gayu when it comes to the chatu. I have heard many tales of people's sentences and comments being completely erased immediately. Is vexing, but get over it. If you cannot make your joke in another way, your joke is shit. Oh, glorious Java. Right. This place is fascinating. We need lots of water. And then some rand. Yes, yes, crap for PEINTEINGU. Yes, yes. Ah, the chi is now flowing. My spider knows it's timer for the PEINTEINGU. As the people crap your hands together. I want to hear you crapping all the way from here. Now, we dance with demons. Advertisements. The bane of my life. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Methinks a combination of aqua green and perhaps some turquoise to represent these Mediterranean? No. South Pacific? Pacific? Gloriously, beautifully turquoise blue islands. Oceans. My brain is just not working today. Paint, paint! Paint, paint! Paint, paint! Paint, paint! Where's my aqua green? Paint, paint. Painting goo goo. I rode the parrot with the goo. Aqua greenu. Turquoise blue. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Painting goo 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 goo. Right. My chi is now flowing. Where's my rag? I place my royal rag upon my demi-divine knee in preparation for the goo. Then I get my bitches wetu. Need a big bitch. Yes. The fan. The tall bitch with the big head. Once you have gotten the bitch wet, never forget to beat her. Use your royal rag to dispense of all evidence of the encounter. Painting goo 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 goo. I take my tiny mister and squirt on the parrot. It aroused the goo to flow freely, smoothly, gently. Oh. It was a burp and a half. Right. We shall have the Aki on. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Must be nice to have internet too. Is your internet still down? What are you on, mobile or something, are you? What the fuck? Is that like a full 24 hours now or something? Is Canada being invaded by the Russians? What's going on? Painting. Goo goo. Paint, paint.
Yeah, I was if only. I was like, you'd probably, if the Russians showed up, you'd be like, oh, thank God. Does anyone remember that bit from Waterworld? You remember that bit from Waterworld where like it's like near the second, it's like the third part, like like, why am I struggling to say this? It's like the later, like, you know, third of the movie. Like the what do you call it? Like the third act. Yeah, that's what it's called. Costner gets on the boat and then fucking throws the flare down the tube that leads to the fuel, and the old man sitting on the boat that checks the oil level for them just sees the flare hit and the flames come, and he just looks. He has these goggles on and he just stands up on the boat and he's like, oh, thank God. Just gets annihilated. I always thought that bit was brilliant. Oh, thank God. Just wall of flame coming at him. Like, brilliant scene. Oh, that's nice. Aqua green and turquoise brew mix beautifully. It's glorious. Ein Manbaru. Did I announce you? Did I announce your arrival? Welcome, Ein Manbaru. Lots of squirting to do. Look at that. Look at that beautiful colors. It's glorious.
Now we need some whiter for the waves and such. Or perhaps not. We need very pale blue sky. Paint, paint! Paint, paint. Paint, paint. I must squeeze all the goo out of this bitch. Paint, paint. Give me your goo.
Methinks that is our. Painting goo goo goo.
Ah! Rim shot. Still counts. I have taken sky brew, but used a rot of squirting from my ritter mister, and just a fraction of the actual goo. Using gouache Reich watercolor. Very useful.
Painting goo goo.
Excellent. We have our sky and the sea. The Achya, as I like to call it. Now we need this racetrack-shaped island. Then we need a yacht, a wrench, and a nigger. Had a nicer FaceTimer chat with Scousbarrow last eve. He is indeed top sheriff, boss rad.
Rov Scouse. Rov Scouse. Chap's an absolute fucking ironclad legend he is. Like, him and Stuntman. Two of them are fucking hilarious. Love the two of them. Coming from an Irishman having that much love for two English fellas, like, do you know what I mean? But Scousers are kind of their own things, like. It's like they're English, but they're not. Like.
Time for some whiter.
Paint, paint. Paint, paint.
Paint, paint. Paint, paint.
Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Are they having a chat and hanging tonight? Awesome. Scouse Bear is one of them. Like, his accent is so thick that, like, when you're talking to him, half the time you're just, like, in awe of how strong his accent is, like. sounds like he's drowning when he talks. Like, alright. Like, I fucking love him. Okay. Methinks trying to put the island, have it large in the foreground here with stuff on it, and then have it going into the back there.
We shall give the paintingu some time to dry you. I have used a rot of water. Look at it. In the space of a few moments, I have constructed paint a beautiful ocean in front of you with a beautiful blue sky.
Ah, crowds. Fluffy crowds.
Paint. Paint. Beautiful. Right.
Dry, you bitch.
So how is everyone on this fine Thursday? Are you aware? What are you painting, Emmanuel? Another politician with a tiny penis? Painting goo 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 goo. I want to make sticker of Gary Goosa. I would love a tactical turtleneck, both for the tactical turtles and the bird bureau. What member of the bird bureau should we randomly do next? Hercule Heron. Hercule Heron. What was I gonna make him? What nationalities? Like, we just make Gary Goose American, or is he British? Gary Goose. Set me loose. The name's Goose. Gary Goose. Like, make him exceedingly British. The name's Goose. Gaz Goose. Equipped with his silenced pea shooter. Like, make it actually shoot peas. Just silly shit, like. That's my favourite form of cartoon stuff, like, just fucking silliness, like, you know? That's what cartoons are supposed to be. The fucking old school Looney Tunes shit where somebody'd get hit by a frying pan and then their head would be the shape of the frying pan. Bong! Like, there's a reason that shit was so entertaining, like, you know what I mean? It, like, tickles that part of your mind that's just silly, like, you know? Seeing stuff happen that, like, you know wouldn't happen in real life. Like, somebody gets stuck in a pasta maker, like, you know, and gets, like, turned into, like, a fucking sheet. But it's, like, you know, like Tom and Jerry style, like, you know, where Tom would get put through something and he'd come out wafer, like, paper thin, but it's still, it's the shape of Tom. Like, you know, it's like, you know, as a child, you're like, what, you know, you think it's funny and all, and the adult part of your brain is like, there would be so much blood. Like, I'd say that's where stuff like Happy Tree Friends came from, you know, because it's like, what would it actually look like if we subjected the cartoon characters to the violence that they're subjected to in other cartoons, like, you know, being, you know, blown up with a rocket, or like having some kind of large axe on a pendulum swing at them and stuff, and like all of this mad shit with cannons and trains and catapults, like giant mouse traps and all, like, and then you actually do it and it's like some of the most gratuitously violent shit you can imagine. Oh god, Happy Tree Friends had some brilliant moments though. Ugh. I want to finish my liquid Java while they're still warm. Glorious. I am keeping the masses fed with goy syrup and soy syrup. They can't get enough. That's like the idea of someone like you know, moving huge crates of, like, you know, Haribo and like cereal boxes and like all of this stuff, and you're like, you know, listening to me or listening to Owen while you're working, and you're like the paradigm shifts and the gravy, the esoteric knowledge and the occult knowledge, and, you know, behavioral analysis of like society and just groups of people or even individuals, like, you know what I mean? while you're like, you know, a part of the machine that brings the stuff, like, it's hilarious to me, like, because, you know, there's other people, like, that's what's so funny about Owen's bit, where it's like, well, not even bit, like, wasn't there actually recorded, like, there is actually a Rothschild that just wanted to be a farmer, you know? It's like, I'm not really into the whole, like, controlling society. I just want to be a farmer. They're like, no, Gary. I'm sorry, Gary, I can't let you do that.
Like, how funny would that be? It's like you merge the two. It's like, is that from 2000 Space Odyssey? I can't remember. Like, because I haven't seen a lot of the old shit. Like, is that what HAL is from? I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you do that. It's like where AI is going right now. You're gonna have an AI controlled, you know, like say like an AI that controls like a city. You know, you take something like Manhattan, right? So you have an AI that's, instead of a mayor or whatever, you actually have an AI that is in control of everything. You know, the power grid, traffic, law enforcement, all of it. Like, it's all just this automated utopian-esque system. Like, but part of that is like you're chipped and like you're like, you know, like an ant. You are designated a purpose in the society. You know, so it's like the beginning of Judge Dredd, where it's like, you know, greetings, like fucking Dave Finch. Your employment designation is noodle maker in the local Kwok Kwan takeaway shop. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? I don't know how to make noodles. It's like, yeah, well, you better figure it out. Like, you just get designated. You like, you know, it'd be pure weird as well if you get that. Like, if it was like a somewhat random, where like people who aren't good at sports get designated to be like a high level athlete. That'd be hilarious. Like, obviously you'd make the argument that the AI wouldn't do that because it would have the stats of everybody, but like now and again, if it just like fucked up or something, or if like, because think about it, like their argument is like equality and shit, like, so it's like equal opportunity. All right, well now this fucking, like, we kind of have that with the Special Olympics, like, do you know what I mean? It's like now this quadriplegic, it's like gotta be a fucking 100-meter sprinter, like. It's like you just have this lad with no arms and legs at the starting line beside a load of black fellas, and then the gun goes off and they're all gone and he just like falls over, face plants. Equality. Oh, this shit's hilarious. Right, I think we could slap some land in here. Okie dokie. I think I'm going to go with... Yeah, we'll start off with some yellow ochre. Yes. I'll do the same I did with the sky blue. I'm going to water it down, because I don't want it to be too... Not yet, anyway. I don't want it to be too intense. So I can be kind of vague with the placement of the dirt. Sand. Oh, gross! Few squirts. Just gently pour. Just gently purr. Like a kitten. And the paint will hear you and begin to throw in your direction. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Right. Roughly here. And then like here, and then off in the distance there. I'm actually going to mix in some white with this bitch. Squirt, squirt! Hiya.
Once they can do an AI robot girlfriend, the gamer bros will go extinct. They won't need wars.
They're already there, man. I've seen some wild shit. I was watching this documentary on YouTube, and like those like sex doll things have been around for years, and there's a whole, you know, like it's disgusting, and like kind of sometimes it can be kind of scary when you see the sort of markets that like are just totally, you know, crushing it in certain ways. Like, it's like, people buy these? Oh yeah, there's tons of money in it. Like, you're like, ew. Like,
paint. Paint. Squirt. Paint.
Paint.
Excellent. Sandbar.
You have to be a sad sack to go that far. I know, like, I mean, some of the, or like, they're like when you see some of them, like, you have the guys that look normal, and then you have the guys that, like, the second you see them, you're like, oh yeah, like, I mean, look at them. You know, like, it's the same with everything, like, you know. So I love watching those documentaries of, like, you know, fucked up shit, like. Like, I've said this before, like, I love watching, like, real dark stuff and all, like, and, like, you know, police body cam stuff and, like, you know, murder interviews and stuff. Because, like, you see something like Owen's stream and his kids and the garden, and you're like, that's good, right? And I just, like, I always found it fascinating looking at, like, the bad behavior of people, individually and in a group. That's why I like stuff about cults is like so fascinating and shit, like, you know. It's like, oh, these people get together and dress up as elves in the forest and they sacrifice a baby. Like, it's like, they do what? Why? Like, it's like mad shit, like, you know. And it's like, all, like, you don't have to go far back in history for, like, to hear and see this, like, wild, crazy shit. Like, it's fascinating because it shows you that, like, when you're getting brought up and, like, you know, you get taught things in school, like, the kind of overwhelming narrative, the vibe is that it's like most people are good, you know, we had 2 world wars and, like, the bad people are all dead now, like, you know, bad people get put in jail, you know, bad people are dealt with, just be good and you'll be fine kind of thing. It's like, you know, oh, we're the good guys, like, it's very, like, MK Ultra fucking us and them weird shit, like. But when you grow up and you realize the reality of life, it's kind of like we're all just like aware animals trying to, you know, live and get along and do stuff. And throughout history, we've all, like, invented these sets of rules and beliefs and, like, systems and things that are unacceptable and unacceptable depending on the culture and shit like that. Like, it's just fascinating seeing how, like, you know, you got a one state, and it's like, all right, we have a dude who, like, killed his wife and kids because he found out that, like, the wife was having an affair or something, like, you know. And then you have the sheriff sitting down with him, being like, you know, like they have those like what are they called? Procedures, where they have to speak to them in a certain way and gain certain information and stuff, and like then you see something like China, you know, where it's like some dude can like brutally murder 3 dogs and like strap them on the back of his moped and like drive down the road, and like nobody bats an eyelid, you know, because like they don't even have any animal rights laws allegedly and all this shit. Like, you know, it's like every place in the realm has like stuff that you would witness and you'd be like, what the fuck, like this is like crazy. Like, you know, like you see that a lot in the West where like people are like really fucked up in like this kind of weird weak way, you know, because of how like good we have it in certain ways. And then you see in other countries how fucked up people can be in a real dark way. A lot of the shit you see coming out of China, you know, stuff like revenge against society killings and all, like, you know what I mean? You could, if you were to watch some of these things visually, and as far as like some of like the fundamental data that you would first acquire, you'd be like, there's no difference. Like, they both look like what people in the West would consider like a terrorist attack. You know, when we had these people like driving through markets in Germany and like mowing a load of people down. You see it in China though, and it's not like a terrorist attack, it's revenge against society attack, you know. It's like the behavior is the same, but the motivation's different, like, and that stuff I find fascinating, where it's like you can actually get to a point with certain people where they could do something like utterly insane, like, you know, killing a family member or a child, and then when you get when you get into the weeds and you're like, so why did you do this? Generally, you know, don't get me wrong, you get the utter psychopaths, but generally there's like this trauma or damage or like, you know, you could describe it as some kind of blockage spiritually or mentally, where like a lot of the time, even if what they did was horrific, you end up looking at them and kind of, well, I do, and you kind of pity them. You're like, Jesus, I mean, like, what it must be like to be you, to be like fucked up and broken and have done something like that, you know? Like, it's wild to try and place yourself, because like I do watch some of these interviews, especially with like some of the murders or like kidnappings or like, you know, fucking abuse homes with like a load of kids found and shit like that. Like, there's loads of it. It's like it's hilariously fucked up and inverted how much the news will be like, oh, the Russians are gonna, you know, World War III on the horizon, but like they won't, you know, just randomly turn around and go like It's comparable to like in England where like, you know, like people get robbed and stabbed and like acid thrown on them like all the time. But typically what you see in the BBC or whatever is like something to do with like an agenda or politics or like, you know, geopolitics or celebrity shit, you know? It's always like stuff that like is it's fairy dust, so it doesn't really matter, and a lot of the time most of the time it's bullshit. Like, the stuff that actually matters is the stuff that's going on in the micro, in each community, in each city, in each, you know, village and stuff like that, like, where like people are desperate and hungry and like, you know, ignorant or fucked up, or like, you know, like all these people on drugs, all these people turning into extremists due to like, you know, fucking family abuse or like not having the right information available in that area because it's like heavily repressed. Like, do you know, like, you create extremists by only having like in a place like China, you know, where it's like the internet is restricted, what you can say and do, you know, is restricted heavily and all this shit. And it's like, being a parent, it's like, don't do that, you're not allowed to do that, and the kid just wants to do it then, you know? It's like, how have we not developed that lesson as a species, where it's like, typically if you tell people to not do something or make it illegal, like, sure, like, Like, if you make it illegal to kill people, like, did you really have to make it illegal to kill people? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, think about that for a minute. Like, that we had a, you will not murder. Oh, okay. You know, like people had to be told that was a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? But then you see, like, some shit like in Africa, and you're like, you know, you could sit across from one of these, like the Rwanda incident, and you're like, do you really think butchering people in the streets with a machete is, like, okay? And, like, they will, like, legitimately be like, you know, like, they believe it's, like, their right, and it's like, you know, they are different. We are this, and they are that, and they need to be, this is our place. They need to be eradicated and all. It's like, yeah, but you're, like, butchering women and children and shit, like, it's like, but still, like, it's like, I remember that thing with fucking Ross Kemp, where he was interviewing that black fella, and he's like, so the men that it's the men that come into your cell, and you rape them, like, doesn't that make you a homosexual? And your man's like, I am not gay. They are gay. They are the ones who are gay. I make them like woman. You know, like, and you're just sitting there looking at this guy being like, whoa. Like stuff like that does exist. That disconnect from reality. You know, the shared reality experience, you know. A lot of people, unfortunately, have like a singular cone of vision of what reality is, and they just cannot or will not see it out, like, in the peripherals, like, you know. And it's like there's very little difference, in a sense, between the black guy in like a fucking Kuwaiti jail who's, like, you know, raping his fellow cellmates, and he's like, doesn't think that makes him gay, you know. There's very little difference between that level of, like, fucked up and, like, some of the politicians you see in the political sphere, like, geopolitically, like, everywhere. You have these, like, fucking psychopaths that are, like, clearly getting into politics because it's like, power, influence. If I do this, this, and this, I could, like, you know, influence this. It's like, if you're the type of person who seeks power and influence, then you shouldn't have power and influence. Like, it's fucking hilarious to be like, Tweguru, welcome. but I have to squirt. And, like, that's another thing I think is fascinating about psychology, you know. Paint. It's like, when somebody says, but I have to, it's like, no, you don't. You don't have to. You choose to. And, like, I know that about myself, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't have to smoke. I choose to smoke. You know? It's like, the amount of things that people say where, you know, like, you could be having a conversation with someone, or you could, like, you could pick an example off of, like, a fucking TV show or anything. Like, it's like, you made me do it. I didn't make you do shit. Like, do you know what I mean? But the things you said and the way you were behaving made me think and feel this way, so I chose to do this. So you made me do it. It's like, I didn't make you do anything. You know? Like, that's what I said this before. It's like even when somebody, like, holds a gun to your head and is like, do this, it's like, you still, like the whole, that's why they're pointing a gun at you and threatening you and saying, do this or I will kill you. Because they can't actually make you do it. You have to choose to do it. So that's what the gun is for. And the threat of death is to elicit a fear response, to create doubt and fear, so that you will comply, you know? And that's what a government is, and the military is like, behave or else. And it's kind of like, sure, there are people that deserve to be treated like that, you know? Because, like, you get that with kids, you know? Fucking, like, put that down. I said put it down. I said put it down. Like, right, on the ball step. You will sit there for the next 10 minutes. Pout all you like. You know, like, I was around the kids a lot, like, because I was like that. I was the firstborn grandson, and then loads of my cousins and relatives and shit started having kids. So, like, I was like 5, 10, 15 years ahead of a lot of my cousins. So I'd, like, babysit or, like, have to. I didn't really babysit. Like, it was like when there would be like family events, sometimes I'd have to look after the kids, and especially early on, if there was like a birthday or something, sometimes I was with all the kids because I was still technically a kid, but I was like 4 years older than the eldest cousin, like, you know. So most of the time I felt like, and was older than all the kids that I was surrounded by. Like, so I remember a lot of like, did I do that when I was a kid? Like, you know, you'd look at other kids' behaviors and be like, I know you're lying. Why do you keep lying to me? Like, you know, I saw you do that. Like, why are you denying it now? Like, and then you'd remember, you'd be like, I did that when I was 4. You know, like, what's that you got there? And they like put it behind their back so you can't see it. Nothing. You know, show me what you've got there. I don't have anything. You know, like kids are hilarious when they try and lie to you because it's so blatantly obvious. Like, I saw things in China you can't unsee. Yeah, man, like, I can only imagine. I always think how crazy it is that, in brackets, at least in parts of the US, if someone unalives... Somebody has a paid... Eh? Somebody has a paid for PEINTEINGU! Glorious! If somebody unalives a pregnant lady, they can/are charged with 2 murders. Yet Planned Parenthood does what they do with impunity. I know, it's like, it's crazy when you realize like the relationship between the level of deception and the level of like attempted good, true, beautiful. Because like, you know, you Americans like will always talk about like oh, the Constitution and the fucking what you call it, the fucking is yeah, it's the Constitution, isn't it? It's like, you know, when they talk about like Thomas Jefferson and all that, it's like these guys were attempting to be noble. They wrote this thing. They were like, "Fuck you. We don't need no fucking English king, you know, telling us to do squat." Blah blah blah. The attempt to be moral, to be noble, to be good, to do beautiful things, to make beautiful things, to have beauty and honor and all these good, prosperous things exist in our everyday life, like, you know. And then the opposite, where you have like murderers, psychopaths, thieves, deceivers, ne'er-do-wells, like, do you know what I mean? Like even every video game you play, well, not every video game, but like all these like RPGs and like adventure games that you play, it's like, what's the bad guy that you always come across like in between places? It's always like bandits. You know, because you're out in the wild. You're going between one town and another town, or one city and another city, and you come across wild people, you know, who prey upon travelers. Like, you know, what did they used to be the term? Oh, what were they, was it roadmen or the fucking? No, there's another term. I think roadmen was another one, but there's another term. For people who would, like, you know, attack travelers and stuff like that, like, the amount of the amount of things that have changed similar to that, where like I've spoken about it before, where if you live in Ireland like I do, you can walk the length and breadth of this island and basically have no fear of being, like, you know, killed or eaten by a wild animal. Like, you know, there's nothing around. Biggest thing is going to be like a badger, and like the chances of one of them being able to like murder you and eat you are like fairly fucking low, you know. And then you go to other places like Australia or Africa, where it's like, depending on where you live, you could literally step outside your hut and get dragged into a bush by some large creature and like painfully murdered, like, you know. Like it's like when Owen is talking about, like, you know, the places that don't have winter. You know, it's there's certain things that are just a reality, and because certain things are like an undeniable factor of reality, the lie can only be sustained for so long and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's funny to me how, like, people, a lot of people exist in this state of just like, just in a daze, you know, watch TV, go to work, listen to the news. And don't get me wrong, the pendulum is swinging. It's still like, it's swinging hard in the other direction, which I think is hilarious and really cool in many ways. Like, you know, you got all these video games coming out that are doing really well. Can't deny that shit. You know, like, fuck all your woke crap. It's not working, obviously. Jaguar became Faguar in the space of a day. Hilarious. So, like, and that's the thing as well, is like, you know, Owens talked about that shit as well, where it's like, let them do it, let them fail, and then mock them as it happens. Like, that's the true victory, you know? Do awesome, cool, wholesome, good shit for the sake of doing all that cool shit. And while others, you know, like, deceive and fuck around and all that shit, like not let them, as in, like, don't attempt to stop them if you have an opportunity, like don't get in their way kind of thing. But it's like, putting too much of your energy towards fighting evil or the dark forces or whatever like that is quite often counterproductive, because evil's nature is that it feeds off of things parasitically. So the more you fight it, you're actually giving it energy. You know, you create like a vicious circle of like, I must slay these demons, and it's like every time, it's like the Hydra thing. It's like, I have slain 10 demons today, but I've also inadvertently created another 12. Like, you know what I mean? So tomorrow I will slaughter 12 and inadvertently create another 14. You know, like, because like no matter what way you do it, like that's why you should only kill if someone tries to kill you. You know. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, you should, like, realistically, right? When somebody gets within striking range, whether it be, like, unarmed or armed, you know? So it'd be different ranges for, like, if we're talking swords. But when somebody gets within striking range, that's why discernment is so important. Because if somebody is within your physical space, and they have deceived you into thinking that as they get really close to your personal space, you're safe. That's how you get assassins. You get close to you, and then they stick a blade in you, because your reaction time is never going to be good enough. You need to see it coming to react, and if you don't see it coming, you're fucked, right? Every fighter would tell you that, like, it's the ones that you don't see that knock you the fuck out, like, you know? So you must be wary, you must be paying attention, you have to, like, have, it's like a responsibility to be a man that defends, you know, his area and shit. And it makes sense that's why that, like, you know, the weak ones, they use, like, poisons and daggers and subterfuge and infiltration and all this fucking shit, because they can't attack you up front because you'll murder them, you know? So there's this that's why everybody loves Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and like and all this power play shit, because it does become very complex and fascinating and intricate when you start getting to the level of, like, say you are a king, you know, and you are a good king, and it is your responsibility to, like, you know, take care of your people and your kingdom and everybody within it, and also your own family and so on, like, make sure you have an heir and all this shit. Like, you have to, you're the center point of the energy in that area in a lot of ways. That's what they said, like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Because could you imagine the stress of having to deal with people trying to kill you all the time, people trying to destroy supply chains going in and out of the kingdom, people trying to kidnap members of your family, members of your family trying to fucking, you know, poison you, stab you, fucking, like, all this fucking shit. Like, it's comparable to this stream and what I do here. It's like, when you have something of value, demons immediately show up, like, even if it's on a small scale. Because I entertain, because I make people laugh, because I paint things that could be, like, funny and cool and all this fucking shit, The second you create and produce something nice or something good, you inevitably have the parasites that show up and start trying to like take from it and shit, like, you know. Now thankfully I don't have to deal with any like major shit right now, like, you know, but I can only imagine in the future what I'll have to deal with. That's why watching Owen over the years has been incredibly educational in terms of like how do you deal with all the stress of shitty people, you know? Because like the meta reality of that, like the spiritual shittiness never stops. If anything, it gets more sophisticated and more complicated and more difficult, you know, the more shadow work you do and the more like you understand yourself as like what you are, where you are, why you are, all this fucking shit. Like there doesn't come a point where it's like, oh, I'm good now, oh, relax. That doesn't come. You get like moments where you level up and you're like, oh, I get it now. That is good. That is why I should do this. It like, you get moments where like everything you believe in and your thinking is like reaffirmed, and you're kind of like, all right, I get it. That's why I'm doing this. I should keep doing this. I'm on the right path. You get like science winks, you know. But there never comes a point where it's like, oh, all the evil's gone. Yay. It's like never happens, you know. And initially, it can be quite depressing because you're like, this never stops. Are you fucking serious? Just assholes are going to be here all the time trying to wreck shit? That sucks. It's like, yeah, if you think about it like that, it does. But if you think about it in terms of like natural cycles in a garden, it's like nothing is really bad and nothing is really good. It's just different behaviors that produce different results. You know? You could have like you conceivably could have a genocidal maniac that you could have a really interesting conversation with. And like, on the one hand, he's like murdered brutally loads of people, women, children, God knows what, but he's like incredibly affectionate to his like pet iguana. You know, like you'll look at some of the behavior out of him and be like, this guy's like weirdly like cool and like interesting to be around, and then you find out what he's done and you're like, what the fuck, how does that correlate? Like, but it's the nature of reality in a lot of ways. Like, so I could be a gangster, but I can't like kittens. You know, like, fucking, is that Horrible Bosses 1 or 2? I can't remember. I love that shit. Like, right, are we going to? Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes. It's time for raving goo. I'm a Sumerian king, allegedly. Like, oh, this shit's hilarious. I just have this weird feeling that I'm like super special and important, or at least I was. Like, I laugh when I have thoughts of like what I was saying. It's like, am I Satan? Because I look at like some stuff in my life and I'm like, you know, what does it mean? And it's like, you can infer any meaning you want onto it. Like, it doesn't mean shit unless like you know. But like 666 in my social security number, and then being born on the 18th of November, and like, you know, November being like Scorpio, and it's like the Judas, the assassin, the Saturn, the thing that kills, you know, the sun before it like comes up again, and all this. There's just lots of like negative shit, like, and then I've got red hair, and like, you know, like I've literally like legit had moments where I'm like, what if I am the devil? I just can't remember. I love talking about all that gravy stuff. You know, the esoteric knowledge, the occult knowledge, the fucking like the fundamental building blocks of reality itself, as far as we've figured out through like, humans' existence. Like, do you know what I mean? Like geometry, alchemy, like the spatial stuff, like, do you know what I mean? Like the fact that you can picture stuff in your mind and all, like, it's how consciousness works, how like like on a level we don't even know what the fuck water is. Do you know what I mean? Like drink it all the time, it's so important. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like even on a scientific level, we're still like, but what is it though? You know, why does it function this way? Like, why does it do these weird things when you put it in certain environments and under certain parameters? And it's just so funny seeing everybody make claims and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the religious types, and then you get like, you know, China and all, like fucking like the way people rule other people, you know, and yes, you can make the argument that it's like you choose to be ruled because everything is a choice, you know, and it's just like how difficult something is. Like, that's all it really is like you could come to, what am I supposed to do? Move out into the fucking woods and learn how to survive on my own? Yes. But that would be really difficult and like stressful. Yes, it would. like that's the truth. Like, I don't agree with the, you know, any of this stuff. Like, I need it to change. Well, then what are you gonna do about it? Bitch and moan on the internet. It's like, that's fantastic. Like, so like, I remember having that moment in my room a few years ago where it was like, I fuck this. I'm just kind of like, I had that, what can I do right now in this second, in the moment, you know, the pure like kind of Shaolin, like, be present in the moment. What can I do this second that will like actually make things better for myself? You know, I could exercise, I could meditate, I could read a book, I could create shit, you know, I could paint, I could like create something cool or beautiful, someone to hang on their wall and go, look at that, a friend of mine did that, you know. And it's like so much more like energetically powerful than like submitting to the idea of like, so I'm just going to be working in this warehouse for the next 10 years and then what am I going to do after that? I'm going to like, I'm going to save up, grinding away, and then, because that's the way we grew up. It was like, you save up for this and then you save up, it's like, get a car, get a house, you know, have the mortgage, pay off loans, ooh, get a holiday, like go on a holiday. They're like,
LinkedIn is the place to be.
LinkedIn, can I go fuck itself?
All this meaningless crap, like, you know, even the idea of like my parents and all being like, you know, well, I say parents, more like parent, but like, oh, it's kind of the two of them. It's like, you need to get your shit together and you need to get a job and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I mean, I can see your argument, but like, do you not think that a lot of that would have been a hell of a lot easier if the two of you hadn't been a pair of lying psychopaths who were more interested in, you know, like, do you get where I'm coming from? It's like, the idea of a parent turning around to the child and being like, you need to get your shit together. You're 16 now. It's like, sure, you know, depending on the context, I can see where you're coming from. But like, considering the context in question, it's like, you guys fucked up the two of us like really bad, and you expect us to just like, you know, at such a young age, in this, like, don't get me wrong, there was like 12-year-olds on like, you know, Spanish galleons like giving grown men orders. Like, I get it, but you can make the same argument about like, you know, there used to be fucking 9-year-old girls like married off to men. Do you know what I mean? It's like, things aren't the same as they used to be. Some things change, and it's like a 16-year-old in like 2000 fucking, what would have been like 6 or 7, you know, like, I was playing video games, watching YouTube, like, still in school, fucking, well, sometimes, like, most of the time I was like, fuck school, like, do you know what I mean? Because, like, my parents had failed at the fundamentals. The fundamentals aren't like, go to school, do well in exams, get a well-paying job. It's like, the fundamentals are like morals, a moral framework, you know, like, learn how to think, learn how to learn how to like learning, learn how to, you know, be better. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, get up, eat the cereal. That's like really not good for you because it's basically just sugar, and like when it gets all soggy it tastes like wet cardboard. Go to the school where you have to wear the fucking uniform, where like everything feels oddly militaristic, you know, and you only get taught one point of view from fucking everything. Now go get a job. And it's like, what job do you think, you know, you'd be suited for, you know? And it's not like, you just get like funneled down these, it's like a pinball machine. It's like, you're here, now you go through this tunnel, now you go through this flap, and then you sit in this corner, like, you know, it just, all these people just get like fucking lemmings, just get like filtered through this. What was it, Tavistokian, that Prussian school shit, where it's like they don't make powerful, open-minded, like well-grounded, fundamentally God-empowered children. They make drones. You know, like, and you can see that in, like, you know, the people that come from places that used to be communistic. They will just work, you know, and like there's a greatness about that. There's a, you know, they have this like mentality of like, I work, I get paid, I eat, you know, I buy things. This is life, you know. It's like, but when I look at that from the outside, I see a beaten down submission. Do you know what I mean? It's like your God-given free will and spark has been, like, you know, tempered in a bad way to, like, make you think that you must do this because this is just how things are, you know? Which removes all of the fucking natural freedom of not only your, like, physical self, but your mind as well. It's like, no wonder like a lot of stuff doesn't change in between cycles and eras and generations and shit, because like it takes, like, I just turned 33 and I'd be like making a cup of coffee or something, like, do you know what I mean, and I will like realize something about my past. I'm like, oh yeah, no way, like maybe that's why I did that, like, do you know what I mean? Because I'd just be like reminiscing or whatever, like, and it's like incredibly underrated how long it can fuck you up for, like all these like mental spiritual traumas, like even just thinking that God isn't real, you know, being atheistic, like totally change your mental framework, you know. It could high probability of leading you to like a nihilistic mental framework, like just that alone. It's crazy to me. But anyway, paint me a tactical iguana or I swear I'll feckin' snap. You want a tactical iguana now? So now we've got the Bird Bureau, the Grid Pigs, the Tactical Turtles. I suppose, like, turtles are reptiles, aren't they? Like, technically amphibians? Or is that tortoise? Does a turtle, like, count as a lizard? Reptile? Turtles are reptiles, aren't they? I'd say tortoise falls under amphibian, though. Was also a reptile? Reptilian amphibian? I don't know. Tactical iguana. I'm getting all sorts of ideas now. We're like, expand the tactical turtles. But then they would, like, tactical turtles is just turtles. So we need lethal lizards. We could have non-lethal lizards, or you have a team of lizards that specialize in non-lethal weaponry. Like an iguana with a pair of nunchucks, like, you know? Or a net gun. Like, the Lizard Legion, something like that. Like, I'll design it. I'll think, like, I'm not like, my mind is currently full right now. I'm still doing that big symmetrical. I haven't touched it in days because I've been doing sketches for other things and all. And I'm trying to do that fucking redesign the metal moose, because I want to make a sticker out of that for Stabru. I said I'd do a sticker of that for Stabru. And I have the good, the bad, and the chicken T-shirt that I want to work on. Because I already have the designs for the chickens. I just need to do the T-shirt. So I have a lot of stuff right now. I want to get the stuff on the board done. Once the stuff on the board is done, I want to like take a fucking week off in terms of like designing shit, and I just want to do like asymmetrical and PEINTEINGU for like a month, you know, so I could just like hyper focus on just two things. Great PEINTEINGU streams and like work on a really bad asymmetrical and leave all the character design, merch stuff out of my mind so I'm not so fucking overwhelmed and stressed out. Like 1 minute I'm painting and next minute I'm like on the laptop and I'm like, you know, making sure files are in the right places, and because my phone is jacked up to like, you know, fucking can't use the phone, need to use the laptop, and it's all this like just awkward shit when I'm doing the merch and I'm designing characters and stuff, even though I love doing it. I think the Commando tactical t-shirt came out great, you know. I kind of like the way it looks like a sticker, you know. Because I'd love to have like if I had the money to get myself a 3D printer, I think like I could totally see it heading that direction where like I just do PEINTEINGU for maybe like 3 hours, 2 hours, maybe sometimes I could even boil it down to an hour or something like. But I think doing PEINTEINGU and then you take the stuff from PEINTEINGU and make like stickers and like short animations and models, collectible models. Like, tell me you guys wouldn't love a fucking a collection of like grid pigs and tactical turtles and the Bird Bureau, you know. They'd be so fucking cool, like little 3D models and all. Like painting goo 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 goo. Mm-hmm. Thieves or Teeves? Here in the Great North, the crime spikes in July, non-existent in the dead of winter. How much more productive is a young man starting a family on land than dead on a battlefield or trying to battle what they perceive as evil? Evil begets evil. Yeah, like growing a garden and having children and like making shit, like, you know, like fucking being a carpenter or something. It's like way more like spiritual, I think anyway, spiritually like effective at actually combating the dark overall than trying to go and kill the dark, you know, because it's wearing a fucking turban and allegedly destroyed 2 buildings in the city you live in or the country you live in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I've been there. Like, you know, like when I was growing up in Ireland, like you hear all this bad stuff about English people in England and what the British did to us. And it's like niggers. 400 years, the British, they raped this island and our people, and you weren't allowed to speak Irish, and you know the potatoes, and oh god, like, you know, it's like, it's just this horror story, and then they give you all of this crap on the end of it. That's like, so that's why everything's shit, and that's why this is that. It's like every group has their own victim narrative. You know, every group has their own victim narrative. It's like built into you when you're a kid. Like this excuse to do nothing, this excuse to be a shit person, this excuse to just be this like moaning, you know, mopey, just like, you know, hunched shoulders, nerd neck, fucking like just sitting in a queue for your fucking social welfare payment, just like fucking everything's shit. Why is everything shit? People suck. This is all crap, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, it's all just a built-in excuse, you know. And it's total bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit. Like, when you look at the obvious examples of, like, look at all the stuff they even teach it in school, where it's like, look at all these people throughout history that did all this wild shit that when they did it, people were like, oh, you're crazy, you know, but now they're in the history books. Regardless of context, like, do you know what I mean? Fucking, you can say what you want about Hitler, but he's in the history books. You know his name, you know, Genghis Khan, Alexander, Julius Caesar, all these dudes are responsible, allegedly, for like fuck ton of death. like, and like, don't get me wrong, like, most people look at Julius Caesar and they're like, oh yeah, wasn't he like a Roman emperor and blah blah, like, you know, I'm sure there's people are like, ugh, murdering psychopath. Typically when you mention Hitler, it's like, oh, the Holocaust, he killed all the Jews. It's like, but you cannot deny how, like, how awesome, like, some of the shit they did was, you know, like, and they look great doing it. Like, versus like the Russians, where it's like you had, like, the Russians had like dudes who didn't have rifles and just had ammo, and if the dude in front of you with the rifle got shot, you picked up the rifle and kept going. Like, they shot people who retreated. You know, if you like, you're like, fuck this, I'm not dying here for this bullshit, I'm out of here, and they'd shoot you for it. Like, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not like, it's not okay to be a coward, but like, can you really call some of those guys, like, because look at the way they frame it in all the war movies. They would witness their fellow man being butchered with no fight, like, no chance. Like, some dude would just get hit by an artillery shell and vaporized, and you'd get covered in dirt and brain matter and blood and shit, and you'd like get like the shakes from like a massive explosion going off near you, and like Frank just got vaporized, and you're like, this is crazy. There's no honor in this. Like, the first time that happened, like, you know, like, a great example of it is in The Last Samurai, where the samurai like charge at them with swords, and the lads just mow them down with a Gatling gun, you know, and they're still like, they'll get shot, and like the horse will like fall, and they'll get up and like walk at them even though they know they're gonna die. It's like, it's a display, you know. Then they all fucking like, they stop shooting and they like bow to them all. Like, it's, there has been many times throughout history where the people have realized it's like, war, there's no honor in war, you know. There's honor in battles, there's honor in fighting, there's honor in physical argumentation that could potentially produce a lethal outcome. You know, somebody might die for an ideal, you know, for some kind of like concept or ideal that is like upheld through that action or whatever. But like, the whole idea of like, right, we're all gonna fucking, you know, go to this field wearing bright red and we're gonna fucking stand in front of our enemy, like, right, first volley. Sir, where's the enemy? I don't know, wait for the smoke to clear. Right, second volley. Like, there's no honor in that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, lads like standing across the field from each other, like a couple of 100 feet away from each other, just getting riddled with hot lead. Like, you know, it's like, there is no honor in lead tennis. There's no honor in, it's stupid. And I love calling war lead tennis. I think it's brilliant, because that's all it is. A 13 love. You know, like, you may as well be speaking tennis terms when you're like a general, like, you know, on a battlefield like that, where it's like, you know, send in the second division. It's like that. You remember that bit in fucking Braveheart, where the English guy is like, send in the Irish. Tell the archers, archers, fire, but sir, we'll kill our own men. We'll kill theirs as well. Like, I love that bit. Like, there's part, don't get me wrong, there's part of me that loved that character, where he's like, he's like, archers, and he's like, but sir, we'll kill our own men. We'll kill theirs as well. It's like, fucking, there's something hilarious about that level of psychopathy. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm the king. The whole point of this is to kill the enemy, you know, so that I can remain king. Like, you know, kill them. Like, no respect for life, no respect for like nature and the order of things, or, you know, God's intent. It's just like, I am the king, you are the people, do the thing, shoot the bow, shoot the arrow, you know, die for your country and me, your king. You know, like, It's fucking... It's so wild, like... Oh, God. Did you read the donation? And then, like, where's it? Come on, man! Oh, fuck's sake, like... I love the way 2 Acre is like, if you don't do this, I'm gonna fucking freak out! Like... Did you read the super chat? If you don't read my super chat, I'm gonna be so pissed at you. Like... I watch PEINTEINGU to better myself. You do and your bollocks. Oh, the idea of people watching me. Like, I just want you to know, watching your painting streams has elevated me spiritually, opened my third eye, and made me a better father. Imagine, like, if that's true, cool. But like, I don't know where it didn't come from. Watching or listening to me, like, oh fuck. I am a professional piss taker. That's what I am. Did I just lose my internet connection? What is this? The laptop is telling me the internet is oh, it's back. The internet just had it. It's like, remember when Barney in The Simpsons is like, oh, my heart just stopped. Oh, there it goes. It's one of my favorite Simpson moments. Fucking Barney just like, ugh. Uh-oh, my heart just stopped. Oh, there it goes. I fucking love that bit. With great blue wrench power comes great blue wrench responsibility. Is that the female coming home, or is that the neighbor? Like, I heard the door there or something. We're gearing up for worldwide Animal Kingdom Battle Royale. How can you not see that? Like, yeah, man, I want to see like a video game or a cartoon series with the grid pigs and the bird bureau and the fucking. If anybody fucking steals this shit, I'm citing the PEINTEINGU streams as copyright. That it was all invented here, created by me. You can go fuck yourself. Grid pigs is a hilarious idea. I think the bird bureau is definitely my favorite though. Currently only having one member. Like, maybe my Gunduck idea is like is just going to become the bird bureau, and Gunduck and Hunter Duck and Bitch Duck and Buff Duck are all just going to be members of the bird bureau. I don't know, like. I'll buy a fleet of moose. A fleet of them. Oh god. I just had a nap. Was it nice? Did you have a nice nap, Emmanuel? Hmm? Oh god. Beijing. I'm gonna give this another layer. Remember to smash the like button like it has insulted your ancestors. If you do not pay for PEINTEINGU, you have no honor, filthy mortar. Instead of South Park, in it, you'll buy my fish now. That's what I was gonna have a thing where I was like, you'll buy my PEINTEINGU. I need to start doing stuff on Instagram again. It's just like the phone I have is just trash for it. Like, Instagram and TikTok have a tendency to be really slow, or they like glitch out and shit. It's real annoying. Like, in my attempts to be consistent, the fucking phone leads to inconsistencies. It's quite frustrating. But we just deal with it and do the best we can. The upload I did to TikTok today actually got quite, like, people commenting on it and all. Like, some dude said it was a masterpiece. The Will Smith and Zelda thing that I just finished. I put it up on TikTok, and some guy was like, masterpiece. I think, like, I'm so happy that, like, I have been blessed with this stream in the sense that, like, paint, that it makes people laugh. I just love the fact that, like, I do something that makes people laugh. Because there was always a part of me that wanted to do, like, I was a huge fan of stand-up. There was always a part of me that would love to do stand-up comedy. And a few people even said it to me before. It's like, oh, you should do stand-up. You're funny and all, like. But I think I'm just like, I like doing stuff, like doing funny shit, you know. I've said it before. Like, I don't know the first thing about writing a joke, you know. You owe me a pair of gloves. I owe you a pair of gloves. Why? Why do I owe you a pair of gloves, Emmanuel? I can't wait to hear this. Oh, glorious. Oatmeal.
Right, my Barav Japanita. This concludes today's episode of PEINTEINGU. I hope you have enjoyed Ingu. I know I did. We have arrived on the island of Tokerau, northeastern of Australia. An interesting island, shaped like a racetrack. Tomorrow, I shall return. Same timer, same pricer, same high-octane PEINTEINGU energy. And we shall paint a wrench, a nigger, and a yacht. Am I being censored? Probably. Not even going to lie. You are probably being censored. Has nothing to do with me. Right. If you have not paid for PEINTEINGU, you have no honor. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And smash that like button like it has insulted your ancestors. Click one of the many links in the description. Buy yourself some merch. Or simply pay for PEINTEINGU. In the meantime, my Barav Japanites, and all you other filthy mortars, I bid you farewell. Be good, be true, and be beautiful. You ordered me grooves? Why did you order me grooves? They are going to your address. How did you fuck up and you wanted gloves but they're coming to me? You fucking gobshite. If a pair of gloves shows up here, I'll mail them to you. You owe me gloves. Why? I ordered gloves. They're going to your address. Oh, Manuel, you'll get your gloves. If they show up here, I'll let you know. Oh fuck. Right, I'll see you tomorrow.